Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Comics News Today. My name is Jesse C. Busby III, and we are very happy to be here today and have some conversations. Now, of course, we have had some sad news today, and we'll be getting to that right at the top. But first, I want to go over and I want to say hello to my co-hosts who are here today. We have the chairman himself, Mr. DeWolf. We have the Denali Lama, and of course, we have the mighty Tank Ferret. So, how are we all doing today, even with our sad news? How's everyone feeling?
Cold. It
Cold.
got cold here in the middle of the country, and there's snow and stuff. It's like the first day of winter, although they tell me it's not.
I see. Well, I don't have snow. I never see snow. It's unfortunate, but it's semi-sunny today, and of course, I do have my cup of coffee as usual, and I'm sitting with a bunch of friends, so I'm feeling great. How about you, Denali? Are you feeling extra namaste-ish?
Well, it's nighttime. It's 80-degree humid. So, as easy as one can be over here. I'm just enjoying my time working, figuring out how the day went by. I woke up, went to work, now came here. Now, by the time we're done, the day will be done. So, kind of like blurring all together. But it's fun. It's been a fun ride so far.
Oh, excellent, man. And Good Dog Press comes in and says something he shouldn't say. Although, thank you for adjusting your spelling. Thank you, Manny. Very nice. Anyway, Tank, how you doing? How's it going in your part of the world, man?
It's being very productive today, Chester. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for
no.
having me. How are you doing, man?
I am doing great, man. And yeah, you telling me some stuff you're doing earlier. It sounds like you're being super productive, which I do appreciate, sir. And of course, we are joined by our resident Kiwi pie expert, Booster. How's it going today, man?
Hey lads, I apologize for my tardiness. I just had a lovely lunch with my nan today.
Aw, that's nice, man. I like to hear
Very
you having your nice lunches with your nans. You said you were house sitting or something, right?
I am, but my nan came to check on me, and she's the loveliest woman in the world, let me tell you.
Mhm. Isn't it awesome when the nans come to visit us and check up on us? It just makes us feel special. It is awesome.
hmm
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, of course, welcome to the chat, everyone are there. Hello, Josh, our favorite troll, and of course, Manny's here with us. Pope Fire, hi, Pope, and of course, Pope, if you want to jump in and say hi, you of course can. You do have the link. And hello to everyone else who comes in. And of course, keep in mind, guys, that hitting that like button and subscribing is most appreciated. We love all the support we're getting, and we're growing every day. So thank you very much for that. But the thing you could do to help us out the most is hitting that share button and sending it out to all your friends and family and letting them know what we're doing and have them come on over here and get involved with what we're doing and having the fun with us because that's what we're all about over here, about having fun and enjoying comic books. Also, keeping in mind that we have all our links down below. Certainly hit that Facebook fan speak group and go over there and join that if you haven't. Tell your friends and family about that as well. We want that to grow, and we're seeing more and more people put in their opinions and reviews and art, and it's really great. Thank you guys for doing that. Also, you have links to me for Chester C. Busby III on Facebook as well as my Twitter. And you can go over there and contact me and tell me, Chester, put me on the show, and we will. That's what we're here about. This is called Fan Speak for a reason. It's a place where the fans speak out. We also have two donation buttons down below that if you wish to help us have giveaways on this channel, like comic books and statues and, all kind of comic book related stuff and maybe even some game related stuff, please go ahead and help us out with that if you feel so inclined. But with that said, we're going to get into the first story of the news today, and of course, it is a sad news, but and it affects us most directly. Today, we lost Stanley Lieberman. Stan Lee has passed away, and of course, everyone has talked about it. Here, we're doing a night show, so we're not catching morning news here, but it doesn't matter. We all have our own opinions and our own experiences and our own feelings of Stan. And I'm going to go ahead and give my own, and then I'm going to let each person on the panel here express their feelings and their experiences they have had in their life with this absolute legend and icon, Stan Lee. And don't misunderstand it in any way. That is not hyperbolic. This man is an American icon, and that's that. Now, I spent a lot of time myself living in New York. I lived there on two separate occasions, actually. And living in New York, there's some icons that you just know living there. Donald Trump. And this is back in the '80s. Even he was a part of the fabric of New York City. Al Roker. doing the news in the morning show. And of course, Stan Lee. He's a big celebrity. He's as important to New Yorkers as Spider-Man is. And if you don't live in New York, you never have, you don't understand how much New Yorkers actually love Spider-Man. It's a part of the culture of New York City, actually. And this is something that he did. This guy has literally affected the culture of the largest and most vibrant city on the face of the planet. No, I've never actually met Stan. Unfortunately, I had a chance last year, but I missed it because he was coming to the Tokyo Comic Con last year, and I was in Tokyo the day before the con started. But I was on business and I had to go back home, so I couldn't go to the con. But I made sure I'm going this year. And I am. I'm going to be doing here at the end of the month, and I will be doing some live streaming from the con for us. But I was like, I missed a chance. Hopefully, he'll come back next year. So I never got to meet the man, but I've actually seen him on several occasions, simply because he's always moving around New York City. I'd see him a couple of times. I was actually in the room with him at what's that place called? Midtown Comics, I think it's called. But a big comic book store over in New York City, and he'd do appearances there and promoting Marvel and stuff. And that's the thing I remember most about Stan. This guy promoted Marvel like crazy. And he loved his fans. He was so endearing to them. He's always talking to them, always had a moment for you. Like I said, he died here at 95 years old, but yet a year ago, he was sitting over here in Tokyo giving signatures and autographs and smiling with people and shaking hands. And then the Japanese press actually showed him on the news, which is kind of interesting because my last little memory here, because I mean, I could talk for a long time, but I'm not going to. But my last little memory I have here is with, of course, most of the young people know him from his cameos in the Marvel movies. And my family and I will sit over here in Japan and sit in the cinema. And of course, my kids are, they know all about Stan Lee and Marvel Comics because they're my children. And we would sit in the theater, and every time Stan would come on the theater on the screen, we'd all point up and say, "Stan!" And yes, we're that type of family. It makes noise. I do apologize. But we loved it. But the thing I thought was unfortunate was nobody else in the theater knew what we were referencing. They had no idea who Stan Lee was. And I've always thought that was a little bit sad. But Stan's important to me. He's important to us. And, peaceful journey, Stan. Why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts, DeWolf?
I think a lot of us that did not live, in that area of the country that could have that type of a knowledge of what he would do in New York, like you did. That's very interesting. Instead, I was out in the middle of not the middle. I was over in the middle of the country, over in Texas, and so the world of New York was kind of revealed to us that read comics through Stan and through Marvel, and it first came to many of us through that little opening that said, "Hello, true believers. This is Stan Lee, and welcome to Spidey and his amazing friends." Ba-da-ba-ba, da-da-da-da-dun. And just every time you waited for it, and you waited for his voice, and you wanted to hear the words of Stan come through, and then reveal what the plot was going to be. That was so cool. And then later on, of course, we learn other things, about him as we get into the comics, and we get to read through his own words through the Stan's soapbox bulletins. And I've got several of those. We're going to go over those today and read them that seem very poignant. But I wanted to, maybe I need to get you this link. First off, I've got an article here that I'm going to refer to.
Just share it on your screen and I'll white box you, dude.
Oh, okay. I think I can do that. Terrible. And so military.com. Let's start with that. Let's see how that's going to work out. Right? Is that good?
Yep.
All right. Military.com says Stan Lee, World War II veteran and Spider-Man creator, dies at 95. And they go on, of course, talking about him being the creative dynamo who revolutionized comic books, and then moved on to say that he served in the Army during World War II, writing for training films. The aspect of him being a writer went through his whole life, and here you have it right here, being in the Army. And they continue on, talking about him. Millions responded to the unlikely mix of realistic fantasy, and many of his characters, including Spider-Man, the Hulk, and X-Men, went on to become stars of blockbuster films. I really wanted to find that portion where it talked about his time in the Signal Corps, and I'm not gonna spin that. Let's see.
Yeah.
Stanley Martin Lieber was born in December the 28th, 1922. And he grew up a fan of the Hardy Boys adventure books,
me too.
And Errol Flynn movies, and that sets that once again that sets his world. After his World War II Army service, Lee was back at Marvel to begin a long and admittedly boring run of assembly line comic book production. That's funny, but really, what I wanted to do with this particular article, you can go there, is the fact that it's military.com. That's what struck me. That our military news sources even think that the death of Stan Lee is worthy that of such a great and lengthy article. That says how much and how far and wide that what he did for everyone reaches.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of funny that you were talking about him being a member of the Signal Corps, which included telegram poles and other communication equipments that they repair and manage. His military classification was playwright, and it was only one of the 9 men in the U.S. Army that was given that title.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was only 9 people with that classification when he was in World War II United States Army.
That is pretty amazing for a man to do everything that he's done. Matter of fact, that's actually a great spot to I think address our first Stan Lee's bullpen bulletin. And of course, I've got to flip because I've got the comic here. That's the cool thing about having a comic. First off, you have to understand that this comic comes from Quasar, of course. Hi, heroes. Your sentimental bullpen asked if I'd write a Valentine's message for all of you, true believers in the spirit of the season. Well, as everyone knows, my heart is a veritable cornucopia of love and affection, so I'd like nothing better than to write something gushy and romantic. But it seems to me that the ones most deserving of our affection, gratitude, and unstinting devotion are the thousands of wonderful servicemen and women who are serving as part of the United Nations forces in the Middle East. If Valentine's Day stands for love, who can best represent that sentiment than the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen who love their country enough to give up their freedom, their families, their jobs, and in some tragic instances, their very lives, in order to serve when needed. Due to the time it takes to have these columns printed, the message is being written in the middle of December. Naturally, I have no way of knowing whether the next few months will lead to peace, war, or a lingering stalemate by the time you read this. Nor is this column to be interpreted as either a defense or repudiation of our foreign policy. The rights and wrongs of international affairs are for wiser heads than mine to determine. But regardless of your position or mine on the Middle East, there is one point at which we can all agree. America's finest young men and women have answered the call once more and are prepared to give the last measure of devotion in the service of their country. Therefore, what could be more fitting than to dedicate this Valentine's message to our brave men and women of all races, colors, and creeds who are serving so valiantly, so far from home. We wish you well. We salute you proudly. We pray for you constantly. We love you all. Excelsior. Stan Lee.
Excelsior. Absolutely.
And there you go. That's words from Stan himself. You constantly, whenever I was going through these for the show, I find these things where he appreciates people as well as the ability to write for them.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, Stan was really good at that. He was very personable, and I always enjoyed reading his soapbox in the comic when I was young. Absolutely. Yeah, Denali, why don't you go ahead and give us your impressions of Stan the Man?
Well, I never got to meet the guy as well, but he was always a force of a personality. You know, you had Marvel tied to Stan Lee. Stan Lee was Marvel, and the two were linked together. So it was kind of amazing. And he wrote a lot of these stories with Jack Kirby, with Steve Ditko, and other talented artists throughout the years, which is kind of amazing to think about it. You know, he started this out because there was an opportunity to make a team that could compete with the Justice League, with DC, and he said, you know what, I think we can do it, and he did, and he made Marvel what it kind of is today. So it's kind of amazing. Speaking of soapbox, one of his soapbox that I found interesting was, for many years, we've been trying in our own bumbling way to illustrate that love is a far greater force, a far greater power than hate. And now we don't mean that you expect to go around like a pedantic Pollyanna tossing posy at everyone who passes by, but we do want to make a point. Let's consider three men: Buddha, Jesus, Christ, and Moses, men of peace whose thoughts and deeds have influenced countless millions throughout the ages, and whose presence is still felt in every corner of earth. Buddha, Christ, and Moses, men of goodwill, men of tolerance, and especially men of love. Now consider that the practitioner of hate, who have scullied the pages of history, who are still venerated their words, where is the homage still paid in their memory? What banners are still raised to their cause? The power of love, the power of hate, which is truly enduring. When you tend to despair, let that answer sustain you. Excelsior, Stan Lee.
That's a great piece of writing too.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, we are kind of like disciples of Stan Lee. We want to tell good stories that has a message, but that it's filled with not pandering to anything, but that makes us appreciate the world a little bit more, and that we can all relate to. And, you know, that's something that has been very important with Stan Lee, even when he's doing, you know, his cameos and Marvel works and televisions and all that. It's a character relatable. We want to go through the journey with them, and that's something that, you know, deeply impressed us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you, Janelli. It was very nice, man. That's a good article to choose from him as well. And let me just come over here to chat real quick and say hello. Mighty Geek Studios, hello. Hoth Rebel 86, hello. And he says, Excelsior, true fan speakers. Thank you. March Hare is with us. Hi, all. Hello. We also have, let me see, coming down here. I said, Velnit is here. Hello, how you doing? KG is here. Hello. New Hero Comics is here. Howdy. How you doing? Hello. Thank you guys all being here. And of course, if you have any comments you want to make, or you know, experiences or anything like that you've had with Stan Lee, go ahead and say that. But we're going to move on here to Booster, and we're going to let Booster have his say. And I got the absolute perfect picture for you to speak over, by the way. So go ahead, Booster.
That's a fantastic image.
Mm-hmm.
Who drew that? Oh my god!
This one's for you.
That is list fantastic.
There is.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and
Tank, all man right there.
Yeah. That's all.
Doesn't that really
pure man?
It catches cheeky nature though. This was a real cheeky bloke, Stan Lee, and a guy who was just absolutely filled with youthful energy to the very end. That's probably what kept him alive for so long. While some other pros we know that the comic pro scene is filled with bitter introverts. Stan Lee was none of that. He was filled with youthful energy and creativity, and just a love for comics. And I hope he's somewhere with Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. I hope they're getting along and making more creations.
Yeah,
I really do, because without those guys, this comic industry would be nothing.
No, absolutely. And Mighty Geek Studios says as well, Stan Lee inspired me to get into comics and to create my own. He did that for a lot of people, man. Now, one of you guys has got a fan or a lot of background noise going on in your mic. If you could shut your mic off, please. I don't know which one of you it is, but one of you guys got a huge amount of sounds like wind rushing or something like that. So please check your mics. Please check your mics.
The only one who isn't muted, I blame him.
So yeah, Manny, you want to go ahead and catch that, please?
Fans blowing out the smell of pineapples.
There it is. It's gone. I don't know who. No, it's the wolf. It's the wolf.
No, he unmuted again. That's all Manny.
Oh, I turned off my.
No, it's Booster. All right, there it is. All right, moving on. But now let's come over here to Tank, and I see we've got Pixel in here as well. We've got a lot of people. Okay, Tank, you go ahead and give us your impressions, please, sir.
Well, I did have a chance to meet the illustrious Stan Lee once. And that guy was the pinnacle example of public relations. I mean, even his fans that were like his anti-fans, the detractors, he cast nothing but love at them. If they said, "Oh, the issue of Captain America was terrible," he goes, "Well, how about Spider-Man?" It was fantastic. He had the razzle dazzle. He was this genius at marketing. You look at the old Marvel comics, and they have just the lowest quality tchotchkes that you get for bargain prices that they're telling you is complete junk, but you need to have it anyways. People bought it, and so he ingrained superheroes and fantastic stories into American culture like no one really had done before. I mean, he sunk it into our background, and that's why we as adults now love these movies, and we're getting our kids into it, and why we're critical of comics as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Mighty Geek Studio makes a good point here. Stan Lee taught tolerance through comic books. Yes, he also was a person who supported diversity from the very beginning, even though we seeing that he didn't do it right, I guess. But Manny, I'm going to say again, please mute yourself, Manny. You are putting a lot of heavy sound onto this stream. If you were there, Manny, please. Thank you. All right. So, anything else to add, Tank, or you want me to move down the line here?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Well, Pixel, I see you're joining us in here today. Thank you very much. And we're going to let Pixel have his say here in a second. Devilish Borden has joined us. Never got to meet Stan, but last year at C2E2, he did a panel with Frank Miller. It was hilariously fun, I imagine. Nick W. says, Stan Lee, the man, the myth, and the legend. You will be missed. Yes, he will. Stan could make you believe some of the most ridiculous characters were plausible and believable. Yes, well, the guy had an amazing imagination. Also, we have Brad here from Pencil for Life, and he says, "Hey, guys," and we say, "Hey," back to you. And we're just remembering Stan Lee, Brad. So go ahead, Pixel, and give us your impressions of Stan the man.
My first introduction to Stan was actually through How to Draw the Marvel Way. And there was actually a VHS version of that had come out. And I mean, I had known about Stan, but I mean, actually seeing him and hearing his voice and really getting that charisma from him, that was the first time I really saw that. And as a young artist, it really, really stuck with me. And just the way that he talked about things, his excitement about everything, it really just made a massive influence on my life. And it's really interesting, like, because I've gone to Comic-Con many times, San Diego specifically, and he pretty much every year would make an appearance, and there was a certain reverence that people showed to him, even when he was walking through the aisles and out on the street. people gave him room. They didn't crowd him in. They wanted to, meet him, shake his hand, and get to converse with him. But they always treated him with a certain level of respect that was just amazing. And it's pretty incredible. I wish I would have had the opportunity. I was actually about 5 feet from him once, and he was out on the street, and I saw him, and that was enough for me. I wanted to go up and shake his hand and everything, but he was surrounded by so many people. I was like, you know what, maybe some other time I'll get a chance to do that. But things happen, and life changes. But I don't regret it necessarily. But it's just one of those things. He was one of those untouchables, I guess. Like one of those guys you always put up on a pedestal and never really thought you would not have around, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody's ever seen Mallrats. I'm sure most of us probably have. I don't know if that's the first time he actually made a cameo in something, but that's the first time I remember seeing him in a cameo.
Oh,
And-
absolutely not. I saw him
Okay.
on TV all the time, living up in the East Coast.
Okay. That was the first time I'd seen him in a movie in a cameo, at least, and I don't remember it from other ones. But that's I worked at a video store when I was younger, and so that movie came out while I was there, and I had that thing on repeat constantly. That scene, every time that scene would come up, it killed me. It was hilarious. But talking about superhero anatomy and whatnot, it's just it's pretty interesting. Anyway, guys, I could speak or just go on and on about this guy. He's a legend, and he will forever be a legend.
This is true. El Jefe Bonito says, I remember him doing the front and back for Spider-Man on Saturday mornings, and he made the villain of the week video. Man seems important. Yeah, you think? Yeah, we saw in the 70s, Stan was on the TV all the time, for sure. March Hare says, I got to meet Stan Lee. It was for sure a watershed moment in my life. Yeah, I bet it was, man. It's been a lot of people I've been hearing it all day. I'm sure you guys as well. There's just everyone giving these great memories of Stan Lee and the amount of energy and time this guy gave to all his fans. I mean, he was an amazing man, and it's certainly sad to see him go. Joshua Hughes says, Pixel, don't hug me. I'm sad because Stan Lee died, but that doesn't mean I want hugs from you. Oh, okay. Pets of Life says, I remember Stan from Saturday morning cartoons. Yes, that's right. Mainly Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Then as an artist, I got the How to Draw comics the Marvel way, just like Pixel had just mentioned. Derek Tyler says, hello, peoples. Well, hello, Derek, and welcome. Let's see. March Hare says, didn't see. Oh yeah, Mallrats. Didn't he make a cameo appearance on the trial of the Incredible Hulk? Yeah, I believe he did. You forgot about the cartoon appearances. Yeah. Okay, good. We caught up on the chat. So we got a lot of people up here with us today, and we want to have everyone have an opportunity to speak about their memories of Stan Lee. So let's go ahead and we'll do Manny, and then we'll finish up with Denali. So Manny, you can turn your mic back on.
Okay, I turned it back on.
Go ahead and
There's-
tell us
there's-
about your opinions of Stan Lee and your experiences and such.
Well, I was lucky enough to see him 3 times. So I got to stand in line and have him sign some of my books. And I got the books that had Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. I met him in 1994, just before Jack Kirby died. So I had tickets to go to the San Diego Comic-Con. So I wanted to have both of them sign my books. So I had like Fantastic Four 100,
Wow.
that kind of stuff. Captain America 100. So he was really nice, super nice. I mean, those lines were super long. He talked to everybody, gave everybody a smile. I mean, very professional. I mean, what a comic pro should be. Yeah. There was no disappointment in meeting him. Real great guy.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and it's good you got to meet him, and I've seen a lot of people got to meet him. That just shows you how much the guy was around. Derek Tyler says, sad, but at least he's at peace now. He doesn't have to deal with any of these people treating him poorly, and he could be with his wife again. That's true. This past couple of years for Stan have been very controversial, not from his point of view, but from the people around him and the way they've been treating him. Several YouTubes have been covering that quite well, and particularly Jeremy over at the Quartering covered that extensively. So yeah, that is a point to be made. But in general, that had nothing to do with Stan. That had to do with people around him. But Denali, why don't you go ahead and give us your opinions on Stan Lee, sir?
Okay, I can give my opinion again.
Again, did I
He's
already come back
another.
to you? I got a lot of people here,
Yes,
Tim. I'm sorry.
no problem. So
I can do
no,
another Stanley soapbox.
Go ahead, man. Give us one more, and then we'll move on to the news.
All right. You guys mentioned conventions and people. And I think here's another one that actually fits well with what you guys were saying. Hi, true believers. For the past few months, I've been hitting a few comic book conventions all over the country. And don't be a Weisenheimer and ask if they hit back. Now, I like to share a few thoughts with you, thoughts that occurred to me at those wild and wonderful gatherings. First of all, if any of you have the idea that comic book conventions are primarily for kids, forget it. The nature and character of the attendees is a never-ending source of pride to me. I mean, we're talking about young adults, strangers, teenagers, college students, professional people, parents of all ages, joining in the fun with their youngsters and assorted literature and art lovers of every race, sex, and nationality. Whenever I'm lucky enough to mingle with the great gang of comic book persons and their fans, I can't help but think how wonderful it would be if all of life could be like a Comic Con. Just think, no hassles, no hangups, no bitterness, bigotry, or bulldog. Just a bunch of happy humans meeting on common ground, sharing a common passion, each finding something in these amazing publications in the comic books they read and enjoy. Something to excite them, to provoke them, to transport them away from their everyday problems, to replace the humdrum elements in their lives with the dazzling color and brilliance of fantasy. No matter how harried and hapless we may be in our workday world, for one brief interval of time, a love of comic books brings us together and allows us to savor a world of imagery and romance, a world that we can share through the miracle of the printed page. You know something? I love comics. Excelsior. Stan Lee.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no.
and I got one.
Yeah, go ahead, Denali.
And I got one more soap opera, soapbox for Stan Lee, and then I think we can move on as well. This one is a good a place of any to thank you once more for being the most wonderful fans any publishing company ever had. If Marvel is on top of the heap, it's your support that put us there. If Marvel gives you the types of mags you want, it's your letter that told us how. And if Marvel occasionally comes with a clinker, go hang your head, hero. Wherever we are, you made us. We had a lot of laughs together and a lot of excitement, and the best is still ahead. So face front, Fanatic 1, Marvel's on the march, and we're not taking a step without you. On behalf of the entire Batty bullpen, to the true believers everywhere, we'll never let you down because you're the ever-loving greatest. Stan Lee.
Excelsior. All right, guys, let me come over here to chat and get a couple more of your comments, and then we will transition into the news, and it'll be a hard transition. I do apologize, but we certainly want to take some time and remember Stan personally, because we are comic books fans, and one of the things that's interesting I had mentioned earlier, and it's mentioned right here again, that Eric Boyd says Mike S. Miller said it well earlier today, how even normies know Stan Lee. My opinion, he was like our Elvis. Absolutely. There is no other comic book person who is as well known internationally as Stan Lee, and that's quite a comment, because there's the characters themselves, like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, etc., are known before you start getting into any other comic writer or artist. Stan, he worked tirelessly his whole life to make Marvel something, and he succeeded just amazingly. And we appreciate everything Stan did, and we're certainly sad to see him go. But 95 years is quite the run. I hope I can make it that many years. All right, guys, we're going to transition over here to the news now. Thank you for joining that. And if you have any other further comments about Stan, I'll certainly come back over here and read them. But now what we're going to do is we're going to, whoo boy, here we go, Denali. Captain Marvel is based on Kelly Sue DeConnick's comics run. Oh,
Right.
goodness gracious.
And
Now
if you've read her comics and you've read the depiction of Captain Marvel, you know what's the same between Brie Larson and that comic? Their phases don't change one bit.
No, this
I got
is
the first issue of that for free on Comixology, and I skimmed through that, and I was like, "What is this crap?"
look,
It was
look, you know,
rubbish.
absolutely, guys. And look, just before we get into everyone's opinion, because I know we have opinion, and I'm going to allow Booster to say the words that I won't say, because there are certain words here. We're going to talk about who exactly Kelly Sue DeCornick is. All right. First of all, this is what she looks like.
Better words for her.
Yeah, well, I'm giving you permission to use any word that comes to your mind, sir. But this right here is the pinnacle. It is the center of SJW-ness. Understand this, all right? They could not have chosen a worse person to base this movie on. This lady is out of her damn mind. I mean, look at the pictures. Look at the progressiveness. Look at her shirt. I mean, Booster, could you read that?
Oh, that would say, "Don't be scared to be a bitch."
Thank you, Booster.
Can you believe 48? She looks like someone's grandmother.
Yes, well,
And she also looks like her boyfriend's mother.
well, okay. I don't really care what she looks like. What I care about is what she does. And I'm going to play this.
Oh, well, I'm going to rip on it anyway because I feel it's necessary.
Well, thank you.
I am.
That's fine. You have at it. But before you guys go, let me just show this to the chat. And now keep in mind, you guys in the panels, you'll be able to see her, but you won't be able to hear this. But they will. Let's just go ahead and play this here and let you understand who this lady is. Okay?
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved.
Kelly Sue DeConnick introduced us to a totally different version of Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel and made the Carol Corps happen. She's also the genius writer behind Bitch Planet. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, superhero comics, at their core, they're built on the foundation of, the strong, the big, strong heroes go in and help the little guys, the people who are
Yes.
oppressed. Essentially what feminism is about.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
This is always when people are like, "Would you please get your politics out of my comic books?" I'm like, "What comic books are you reading?
right. I
Where
think
is the
that's enough.
apolitical comic book that you're reading?" I'm like, I want to go back to the comic books we were reading in my youth, the 70s, when they were incredibly political and not even.
Or you go back to the Ditko Spider-Man.
No. That right there is exactly who you're dealing with, all right? A complete lack of understanding of what Stan Lee built, right? And what he did. And yes, of course there were politics, but it wasn't about the politics. It was about the story that was going on, and politics were in it. This lady is, as you can see, as toxic as they come. Okay, just look at the way how shrill she is. Just look at the way she is,
God,
and I
she's shrill.
cannot
Screaming.
believe it. So
Oh,
I'm
man.
going to shut up now because if I keep going, I will rant like a madman. So I'm going to let Booster start, and then everybody else can lay into this because I don't even care what this article says. That that has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the
Wait.
fact that they are basing this on Kelly Sue DeCornick's Captain Marvel, and that in
The
itself
word
is
that
killing
comes
me.
to mind is the C word.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. I really can't stand this show bloody woman with the screeching and everything, and they've always been politics! It's just, what politics? Just because you read one book 50 years ago that the X-Men are an allegory for minorities, therefore all comics have been political forever. Comics have been politics second, probably even a distant third, fourth, whatever. Comics are entertainment first, not bloody soapbox lectures from some mad woman lefty who wants to just go on about my feminism and my minorities and my oppressions, right? This woman is insane. And to think that this guy was like the absolute genius behind Bitch Planet, of course that woman makes a fudging book called Bitch Planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's awful. She lacks self-awareness. Everything about her is ugly, and this is the kind of behavior you expect from some edgy 15-year-old girl who just discovered feminism, not a woman nearing 50. I think this is what happens when you don't have children. I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm just saying. Seems like when you don't become a mother, you don't bloody grow up.
I was just, yeah.
Go ahead, DeWolf.
I was just thinking to myself, what would Dazzler say? You know, and that's the thing. I don't even know at this point, how do I introduce her to this type of material? You know, it's not right. It's not fair for me to say to her, I know what she would say. Oh my God. Have you seen the expression on her face sometimes when she was reviewing the Dazzler comic book on the agenda that was within it? I mean, you know, her brows go down and she leans back in the chair and goes, I don't like that. That's the same thing that she's going to do with this movie. I guarantee it. I'm going to try to not push upon her, you know, technically my beliefs. I'm going to let her form her own opinion. I'll let her give you her opinion. But I was also thinking, how does this fit with when you're taking an agenda, when I'm having to force it at you? I find that completely the opposite of every other character we have seen thus far, including Steve Rogers. When Steve Rogers thawed out from that ice, he's trying to actually integrate with people. He's trying to become part of society, not push his agenda. And he had one. He's a guy from the 1940s. He had some serious, deep beliefs inside of him. And luckily, they allowed that. When Thor showed up and they said he was a god, he said there's only one God and he doesn't dress like that. He still held his belief system, but integrated into the whole team and wasn't pushy about it. You know, he said language. We say language, right? And here you've got the complete opposite of that. And it's, I just cringe inside.
Super cringe. Let me jump over here to chats before the next one of you guys take this on. Over here, Devilish Boredom says, Stan truly is the generalissimo of comics. Yeah, absolutely. Pencil for Life says, oh, shoot me now. Hate that run. Yes, I do. Because it's pure politics all the time. It's those horrible, nasty damn men, right? And yes, Carl Mambers to the rescue. That was the birth of Carl Mambers, was under her run. And I can't believe they're taking that extreme controversial political run and making Captain Marvel on that. It's outrageous. Eric and Boyd says she's a bucket of sunshine. Just from appearances, I know that is not nice of me, but yeah, no, you're right. Me Grimlock King 83. That's a great name. I was expecting this movie to bomb, and this is the nail in the coffin. Yes, sir. Mighty Geek says Carol Lambers. Yes, you're right. Right on, Booster. Sigh my eyes. From your cousin Manny. Manny, your cousin's over here commenting again. Those few seconds are all you need to know. That attitude is a huge problem. Yes, it is, Devilish. Argo Creations. Hello, Bill. She is the anti-Stan. Manuel says, my ears. Genius Writer. Whoa, she is so much fun. She's a liar. From Eric Boyd. Joshua Hughes. My ears. Dave, it blows my mind that they even released this. Humphrey Bear, Brother Bear is here, and he says hello to Gary Shipman. Hello, Gary Shipman. Nice to see you're in here. Dave and everybody else is saying hello to Gary, and I'm saying hello as well. Nice to see you over here, Gary. Kat is in here, and she's saying hi as well. We have El Jefe Bonito says, don't buy my products. Don't listen to my arguments. Okay, lady, as you wish. Loves that part, Dave says. There's more comments amongst each other. Gary is saying hello to everybody. All right, awesome. That
so
lady,
Chester,
yes, go ahead.
I do got it. I actually am able to say something about that when it does concern Dazzler. Just the words on her shirt, right? I can't even bring Dazzler in here and say, hey, look at this woman, look at her picture and just give me your opinion there because of the words on her shirt.
Yeah, no, No, that's true. But she's a
Where's
very
it said?
foul-mouthed person. I that interview was one of the few I could choose that where she wasn't actually less. She was that's actually one of her less toxic moments, if you can believe that, right?
Are we trusting Kevin Feige still?
Oh man. Oh, God. I want to, man. I want to. But you know, because I don't mind Captain Marvel being a feminist icon. There's nothing wrong with that. Go for it. But just be an actual feminist icon, because you know this is a thing that these modern feminists have totally missed the boat on, and understanding what exactly feminism is. And yes, I'm a white man telling you what feminism is, and this is what it is. It's about women empowering themselves, making them smarter, themselves smarter and better in the world, and having more out of their life. That is what feminism started as, and that's what it is. It's about women empowering themselves. It's not about destroying things. It's not about taking things away. It's not about sitting there and begging everyone else to do something for you. It's about doing it yourself. That's what feminism is. I mean, and these modern feminists, they don't get it. And if Captain Marvel was written in such a way as to represent Amelia Earhart, for instance, that would have been awesome. But no.
I'd just like to make a quick retraction. She has, in fact, had 2 children. My apologies for coming in without research.
Okay, thank you, Booster.
Thank you for your journalism honesty, Booster. We want to keep as accurate as possible.
Right.
But this motivates us as fans, as potential creators, as whatever role we want to take, moving forward. Is look at her as an example of what not to be. And, if somebody say, I hate your book, or, go to Manny and say, Manny, I hate your book because it's not for me. Manny's going to say, well, thank you for reading the book. Let me introduce you to Tanks Ferret's character. Maybe that one will improve to you. And, when they engage with you, say, thank you for engaging with us. If you're interested, check out these books, or check out, we got to be like Stan Lee in this case. We got to, redirect them. They have so much anger and so much bitterness that the only way to diffuse it and overcome it is just saying, hey, thank you for engaging us. Have a blessed day. And thank you for reading. And if you're not interested in my book, check out these titles that might be more interested, and support the community and support each other with that. That is our goal. And, that's what we should be doing.
Namaste. Let's go ahead. We got a lot of people on the panel. Let's let them have a chance to speak. Okay. Tank, go ahead and give your opinion on this, man. I had other news articles, but I don't think we're getting to them. So go ahead, sir.
Well, I thought that this comic run, I was enticed by the gorgeous cover art. I got hooked by the bait and switch. The gorgeous cover art, the beautiful art that was in all the promotional pieces. I was like, ooh, wow, I like the character design. This was something new, something fresh. Cool, I'm going to check this out. And I read it, and I found it to be akin to a day-old buffet of unsalted crackers. Stale and two-dimensional.
Are you an artist or a writer?
Both.
Because that was some imagery right there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey. Thundaro's in here. He says, hello, guys. Well, hello, Thundaro. Nice to see you. KG as well. He thinks she's a gremlin. Okay, well, once again, I don't really care what she looks like. I just care what she does. But let's keep going down that panel and try to get some more voices in here. Manny, you got an opinion on this, man?
Well, I mean, I've never read the book, but looking at that cover shot, that Captain Marvel, it kind of scares me. What is she doing with that glove?
All right, now. Keep it clean.
No, I'm going to keep it clean, but I mean, I just don't understand the cover. I mean, what is it supposed to mean? I don't get it. I've never read that book. So
I think it means she's getting to work, is what it means.
Yeah, she's getting ready to take hold and rip it down and grab hold tightly.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never read the book.
Oh, okay, well that's fine. Unfortunately, we have read it, but yeah, let's go ahead and keep going down the line. And Pixel, you got a comment on this, man?
I need a drink.
Oh goodness! And
No.
by the way, Pixel is not a drinker, just so you know.
So the positive spin on this, here I go. The positive spin on this is, would it be that we were as fervent in our desires as she is?
Mm.
So you're saying that your worst quality can be your best quality?
Hey man, I try to be this positive spin guy if I can do it. She definitely tries. She definitely has some values that are hers, and she wants to promote them. Be it that we could always do as much with that fervency.
And I think something that's common about all of our criticism is the idea is fine. It's the executions of those ideas that is lacking. And you don't convince a person by yelling at them. You don't convince a person by patronizing them. You don't convince a person by pandering them. What you do is you put them off. If you constantly yell at them, if you constantly call them names, if you constantly say, hey, this book isn't for you, you're not going to care one lick what she says. Whatever she might say, she might have some kernel of truth, some poignant truth to what she's saying, but the way the message is being sent down and being received, nobody's going to tune in. And I think that's the most worst possible thing ever. And I think they have to have some self-reflection about how they want to move forward, because the way they're pushing people away. And if their purpose is to send out the message and show what they're doing, then they're vastly failing on that. I guess for this audience, for this crowd.
Even the Denali Lama is having difficulties trying to back this up.
Yeah. Pixel, did you have anything else to add other than you need a drink? Nope.
No, I'm good.
All right. That's very well then. I will leave it at that. Well, we could beat this dead horse, and that's the problem. I think is a dead horse arriving. There's been just to kind of wrap this up a little tight. When they announced Captain Marvel, a lot of people were concerned. We watched the trailer here, and so did a lot of the other channels, and it's been going on and talking about it every time the news comes up, right? And one of the things, with myself and DeWolf, we were like, yeah, ooh, it's we're worried because that trailer was not great. The actress is a feminist who's always around saying very dumb things, which once again I had no problem with feminists, but it's not feminism, it's hate. Right.
Yeah, and the 2D picture that you have of Carol Danvers right here has more expression than the 3D character I've seen on screen.
You're right. But you and I, DeWolf, we said, hey, let's be patient. Let's wait and see. The movie could be
I want to
good.
see her.
Yep.
I know. Bring her on. It's going to be
Exactly.
exciting.
And I said, trust in Kevin Feige, but every little news that come out makes me worry. And then boom, this hits. And man, I am really worried now. I'm really
just
worried.
give her a proton pack and get it over with.
Because this lady is, when this run came out, this was, I don't know if this is accurate. Denali will certainly correct me if it's not. But I felt in a way this was kind of the inception of this modern, just beat you in the face with a baseball bat, toxic SJW progressiveness of something coming out of Marvel. This was when it really struck me was with this comic, and we've seen much worse since. America Chavez, anyone? But am I wrong in that, Denali, or was this really where it really started ratcheting up?
This was 2012. So
Yeah.
what happened in 2012? Obama won, and and yes, this is actually when they started doing the secret wars and battle royale and all those things where they had the Civil War part 2, where they had the most terrible Carol Manders, Danvers.
No, Carl Manvers is more correct. You're right.
Yeah, fighting, I don't even remember the whole event, but I can only distinctly remember is that I didn't care for the whole thing. It lacked no purpose. They were just fighting because. And at the end of the day, it's like, if I can't even remember why you guys are fighting, then the whole reason for fighting was pointless. I remember the first Civil War, why you guys were fighting, whether, to follow, with the registration or not to, give up your secret identity or not to give your secret identity. But anyways.
Well, and just to to say now, this is right here. I'm just going to click on this, and we'll show this right here. Now, this right here is where it ended up. Right now, that image where I was just showing wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad looking Carol Danvers, but what we've come to over that span of time is this. This right here is what Captain Marvel looks like now. It is absolutely a man. There is no femininity to the character at all. And I think the reason why they did that, because they, as you guys have noticed, they've been really pushing for Captain Marvel to be the face of Marvel, to replace Spider-Man. And which, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, like I've said before, Miss Marvel is one of my favorite female comic book characters. I always liked Miss Marvel. But one of the things about Miss Marvel is she was always drawn in a very sexy manner. And she's also, unlike a lot of the characters, she was actually very top heavy lady, if I could put it like that, compared to a lot of the other characters. So she was very voluptuous and sexy character, true. And I think that they chose that character not only because of the name, but also they wanted to take all that sexuality away from her and bring her to what you're seeing on the screen right now, which is absolutely Carl Danvers. This joke and meme has been going on for a long time, but you can see it, and that's where the progression started. Go ahead, guys.
Well, is she in the middle or on the left?
Well, the one on the left would be American Chavez, I believe.
Right. The one on the right is.
Well, that's
Captain
very
Marvel.
confusing in and of itself.
Not really, because American Chavez is a lesbian, of course. So you can show sexuality in a lesbian. You just can't show it in a straight heterosexual woman. That's the reason why.
Okay.
I know that sounds ridiculous, guys, but it is what it is.
You're right. So if that's her in the middle, then you're correct. So what you're telling me is Kelly Sue DeConnick is going to snap her fingers and kill off the rest of the MCU?
She probably love
Pretty
to.
much. I mean, there was talks about, having more of female representation. We are seeing that branching up with Marvel Rising, showing American Chavez. I would not be surprised if they're talking about a Miss Marvel movie.
Danvers.
No, not that Miss Marvel. Not that Miss Marvel. The other Miss Marvel. And
Oh, I see. You're talking about the Muslim girl.
Right, the Muslim girl, to be more precise. But yeah, so they're going to be introducing more of that because that's what they have. This was said a couple years back. It's like, look, guys, once they go through all the stories from the 80s and 90s, our favorite stories, where are they going to leave up to? The stories that they're producing now. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to be shown in the movies.
They got to kill themselves.
At least the news says it's going to be based on this. So maybe it's based upon these storylines, but not based upon the politics being jammed at us. Please, Kevin Feige.
Well,
I'm going positive again. I have to.
Well, we'll just leave it at that.
We will.
Yeah.
And that's a good place to leave it. I see you guys over in the chat making a lot of comments about stuff, and I agree with everything you're saying over there. And it's not a good thing, I think, seeing going forward. And of course, as you know, get woke, go broke. And if this is what they're doing, it's not going to be good. But like I said, we could beat this to death, but we're going to end this today. We're at our hour, and that's what we do. So let me come back over here to chat now. Of course, back over the panel. Sorry. Of course, you can find myself and DeWolf and Denali and Booster all over here at Fanspeak all the time. Every day we do a show. Of course, we also do Bugbear's Basement on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which of course is tomorrow. And tomorrow we will be talking about Teen Titans and of course focusing on Starfire because this week is Pope Fire's Choice. So that should be fun. And Denali, what specific comics are we reading just so everyone knows?
It's going to be the new Teen Titans, Starfire, Apartheid. Sorry, Apartheid issue 1 and 2.
There you go. So if you have those books or you don't, find them somehow and read them and join us tomorrow as we'll talk about that. And those are always a lot of fun. Of course, we have Fanspeak every week on Friday at 8 p.m. Standard Time and we Eastern Standard Time. And we do also have a Saturday show, but we'll announce that to you when we do for the Fanspeak. And we also do the Fan Edition here sometimes, but I'm always following around. And this week, I'm not sure where we are, but we'll announce that. But other than that, I want to let the rest of the people give their information. So Manny, thanks for joining us up here today. And why don't you tell the folks where they can find you?
I'm Manny Cray. I'm from Good Dog Press, and you can find me on my YouTube channel, Good Dog Press. I usually go on in about an hour or 2 hours from now, and we have a whole bunch of artists come on, and we just draw and we talk story, and we have a good time.
Absolutely.
And I'm a part of the Gatekeepers, and Chester's a part of that, and Tank's a part of that also.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, sir. And thank you for having me on.
Oh, no. Thanks for coming, man. And, of course, we also have Pixel Trader. Pixel Trader, where can people find you, sir?
I think the best place to find me right now would be on Twitter, but I've been doing a lot of work on IndieCron, and so most of my time has been dedicated to that. So if people want to find me and see what I'm working on, go to INDIECRON.com, and you will find the stuff I'm working on.
Excellent, man. Excellent. And, of course, we also have Tank Ferret with us, man. Where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Tank Ferret Art. You can also find me later tonight. I'll be on with Manny on Good Dog Press, and I will share my Stan Lee story in full.
Awesome.
And be drawing live.
Excellent, man. All right, guys. Once again, thank you all for coming, and thank you for this great support you give us. We are growing every day, and this is exciting. We're having a lot of fun, and we want you to come join us. So please, get more involved. Come up over here and talk with us, chat with us. I do know that we are going to be having a very interesting guest soon that I've been trying to get on for a while. I'm not going to say his name yet, but I'm very excited about having him on very soon. But other than that, thank you very much, and as always, we're going to let the Denali Lama take us out.
Well, hold on one second.
All right.
I know what Denali Lama says when he takes us out. And I think it would be nice and appropriate to dedicate the address for tonight to Stan Lee, because he is indeed a man who made a world his own.
True.
All right, Denali.
Well, I was going to change it and say something else, but I'll go ahead and say this. Your perception shapes your reality, and it touches everybody in that reality. So always make it a positive one. Always be kind. Always be compassionate, and always be great. As always, thank you. And aloha.
Namaste, man. And yeah, guys, kill them with kindness. Later, everybody.